Okay, welcome back to episode 17, segment number 3. So we're about to talk about Fans Pulse Lap 3. We'll introduce that in just a second. If you've just recently discovered 360 Speedway, you might be interested to know, if you haven't stumbled across it, that we have our own dedicated YouTube channel. Just search out 360 Speedway and you will find there hours and hours and hours, literally. We must be fast approaching 20 hours worth of content there. So there are 50 or 60 long form videos, typically 15, 20, 25 minutes in duration each. And there's a whole batch of short little snippet videos which are pushed out to the wider YouTube audience. So listen, it would be genuinely we'd be genuinely grateful if whenever you watch anything of 360 Speedway, please just by default hit that thumbs up button. It's a powerful action, and it helps to push out 360 Speedway into the YouTube stratosphere, and it brings it to the attention of more and more Speedway fans. So please hit the thumbs up minimally, and if you want to comment too, even to say something good, bad or indifferent, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Okay, Fans Pulse Lap 3, guys, let's talk about this. So in recent episodes, plural, we've been discussing a number of things that directly or indirectly surround British Speedway. We've talked about the entertainment value and the overall sense of value for money in different shapes and forms. And I wanted to return to one particular area, which we have touched on quite a number of episodes ago, but it was triggered actually by something that Carol Johnson said. Good evening, CJ, if you're watching. Carol mentioned a couple of episodes ago that he thought Speedway was a £10 sport, I think was what Carol said. That's almost an exact quote, and I kind of disagree with that. I personally think, I know where Carol's coming from, but I personally think that that you know, £10 would be undervaluing the sport that we all know and love. We you know, never mind the operational cost that we know that Speedway needs to kind of break even. But given the entertainment value and the sheer spectacle that Speedway is, I think £10 as a standard admission price would kind of cheapen the sport. So listen, but before I go any further on that, Stuart McDonald, I'll ask you first of all. You're going to disagree with either Carol or I inevitably, but where's your head at, Stuart? You know, is Speedway, in your opinion, a £10 sport?
Do you know what, Derek? I think when you look at what you're getting for your money now, I think that CJ's opinion was that of what they're getting. You know, the entertainment value now is what we want. You know, we want things like the silver helmet, we want other things, but you know, I think the £10. You know, I think that statement's quite a strong statement, which we know that CJ is quite good at. But I think you've got to agree with him in certain terms. You know, we spoke about the costs involved. You know, but within reason, I can see both sides of it, Derek. And you know, it's down to what the public can afford. It's down to what, you know, the economy currently is driving costs up with things. And you know, I just think that Speedway should be. I think Speedway should be more of a prestige sport. I think there's very few people can adapt to it, can do it. And I think, you know, you look at it in Poland, you look at it in Sweden, the professionalism, the money it costs in Poland. I mean, I believe Poland's very, very cheap, am I right in saying, compared to this country? But they get, 15,000 fans, 20,000 fans, you know, and it's a difficult question. I'm not going to sit in the fence, but I'm you know, I don't think that the sport can do much more than what they're doing just now, especially with the cost.
Can I just jump in there, Derek?
Yeah, go on, Nigel.
Yeah, you say Poland's getting 15,000 people, Stuart. Yeah, probably Torun, Wrocław. There's probably a select few tracks are getting 15,000 people, but then you go and look in the lower league and the crowds are no better than there is in England in the lower leagues. I believe Sweden's the same. So we aren't the only ones struggling. The top clubs in Poland, yes, the real top clubs I think are very good, but the lesser lights, Stuart, you see it, and you'll have seen them because you watch a lot of it. You'll have seen them on YouTube and one thing and another. And there's not a lot of people at some of the meetings, is there? Are you going to agree with us? Are you going to agree with us?
Do you know what? I'm going to agree to a certain extent, but it also, You think of the money they get paid even in the second division, Nigel, even in Poland. The second division money can be like our Premiership money, you know. And I just think that the way they invest it over in that country, I mean, I agree with you that there you go, I agree with you that there's not just the UK that's struggling, but you look at the professionalism in Poland, and let's be serious, there's nowhere else like it, is there? There isn't.
No, you're right there, Stuart. You are right on that one.
Another one. That's 4 times tonight. Nigel Crabtree's
make the most of it, because it won't happen. It won't
carry on. It's not going to happen very often, is it? No, listen. I mean, I think Andy's probably the most qualified at this moment to answer that question, Derek, because he's in the thick of it. He's at the front of it, and he sees it and hears it day in and day out. So there's no pressure on you, Andy.
Andy,
no pressure at all there.
just to bring you in, Andy, you know, if Speedway in the UK is a £10 sport, my question would be, what does it have to do to command a higher price point? And if it's not a £10 sport, why is that? And is the current price point correct or not?
The price at the moment, if everything goes to £10 a point, we would need probably 3 times the amount of people to come through the turnstiles to make it survive as it is now. Andy, which I don't think.
Sorry, Andy, just to jump in, just in case I've caused any confusion. So I'm not talking about riders pay rates. I'm talking about admission prices. Yeah.
So the admission there. So if it's £10 to come into to watch, you would need 3 times as many supporters to sort of get to the same amount of money that comes in through the turnstiles, you know, to run the team week in and week out, which I don't think that you would get that many supporters to come through. So if you did run it at £10, there'd be so much money lost, you know, by so many clubs. In Poland and Sweden, I believe that the councils sort of get behind the clubs and get behind the teams. So that makes a massive difference over there, which we don't really have that support in this country, to be fair.
I get the impression.
You do at Manchester, don't you, Andy? Bellevue does, doesn't it?
No, not really. You know, we have good support from the council, you know, for sure, but like not in as much as like what's in Poland. You know, it's a council building that we operate out of in Bellevue. So, you know, but certainly in Poland and Sweden, the councils are right behind the sport. And if we had that support over here in this country, then, you know, who knows? We could end up being, you know, charging less, getting more people to come through. Maybe you know, it's there's lots of ifs and buts.
To your earlier point, Stuart McDonald, you know, you talked about Poland, and you know, I think on average, typically it's £5 of their points to get into an extra Liga meeting, right? So you're seeing the world's best riders for a £5 effectively. Right. If there was a sort of guaranteed correlation in the UK between, you know, if Speedway promoters thought for 1 second if they reduced their admission prices to £5 or £10, the crowd would treble in size, I'm sure they would do it this week. They would do it this weekend, right? But you know, it's a proven fact that there is no correlation necessarily. The other thing that I'm going to say is, you know, we all know, because we all pay taxes and you know, we live life, but we all know that, you know, inflation happens over a number of years, over decades. You know, the spending power of your pound in your pocket, you know, in many ways lessens, right? I know it's relative because income levels tend to more or less keep rise with inflation. But my point is, what I'm trying to say is, I think typically in the Championship, in the Premiership, £20 or thereabouts is a typical adult admission price, right? Well, when you think about it, £20 doesn't actually go very far these days. You know, how many? You know, if you bought you and your wife a McDonald's, you wouldn't get much change out of £20. A couple of takeaway coffees and, you know, and a bag of popcorn or something, you wouldn't get much change out of £20. So you know, when you actually stop and think about it, I would argue that £20 initially seems a bit steep, but compared to other ways that you can easily spend £20, I don't think it's too bad.
100%. See the current prices that you mean, you go in and you buy, I don't know, let's say a pack of Lurpak, you know, that used to be £2.50. You pay £7-8 now for that. And it's like you say, you go to Mackie's, couple of Big Mac meals, you get £2 change. So in relation to the admission charge, £20 isn't enough if you look at it from a realistic point of view. You know, what does £20 get you? It costs you more to feed the family than it does for your ticket in the stadium. You know, your burger and chips is what, £7-8, a couple of drinks. Before you know it, you're £25-30 for a meal. What's the programme nowadays, Andy? £3, £4, £5, £6, £7? I mean, I don't know what it's. Everywhere's different. But I think when you look at the cost of that, I still think that, you know, we've got the FIM as a governing body all over the world. I think the FIM needs to do a little bit more as well with the countries, with the governments. I think that, like you say, Andy, the government's back the clubs in Poland. And I know that Bellevue have got a little bit of assistance from the council, if you like, with the building. But I think the government need to take a bit of a look at themselves to see what they can grow in our country, because I think Sweden are still very much behind their young talent coming through, and when they're at school they get to go and practice in 50cc bikes. So I think the government in this country need to help clubs 100%. But to get back to your question of £20 and what it gets you, it's not a lot to charge for actually what you're getting, I don't think.
You know, I try to compare it, Nigel, to other sports, right? Because, you know, we're in the entertainment/sports business, right? So it seems more appropriate to compare Speedway to other sports. Stuart, you go to rugby and football and different things. I don't do that, but you know, I still think. Yes, you can analyse it to death. You can analyse, you know, what a meeting actually entails in terms of outside of the 15 minutes of racing, as we talk about. What else do you get for your money? Well, you know, yeah, I could argue some positive things, I can argue some negative things, and we've done that already on 360 Speedway. And yes, you could always improve the overall show, if that makes sense. But, and Nigel, I'm going to ask you this question. You know, in comparison to even lower level football in Scotland and England, where you must easily be paying, I don't know, between £25 and £40 maybe to go and see a football match. I don't think Speedway in comparison comes off too bad.
Well, I don't know. The lucky ones that managed to see Bellevue on Monday night. I don't know how much it is to get in at Bellevue. Andy will tell us this one. £20, £25. And an absolutely fantastic night of racing. I must say, the trackman must be good at does the Bellevue, the way the racing went on Monday night. I'll mull you up, Andy, don't worry. Absolutely, I watched it, and absolutely fantastic. Nobody can quibble over £20, £25 to get into Bellevue on Monday night. Let's face it, how much a packet of fags? 18 quid for a packet of fags. So it costs you a packet of fags to go to watch a Speedway meeting. Yes. Just a little bit more. You know, you go and have a pint of beer. What's a pint of beer nowadays? £4 or £5. You know, so it's 4 pints of beer to go into the Speedway.
Yeah. £7.
Sorry?
£7 for a pint there.
7?
Aye, it's not the 50s. It's not the 50s, Nigel.
You're up on about the 50s, you, McDonald. But no, you know, going back, we used to have a pub, and it was £2 a pint. And what would it be? That was in back end of the 90s. Would it be a tenner to go into Speedway? £2 a pint, 5 pints, a tenner. Nowadays, well, Stuart's just said £7 for a pint, and it's 20 quid to go into Speedway. So Speedway is still quite cheap compared to how it used to be, if you like. Yeah. It was £2 and 5 pints. I don't know. It's it'd be a brave man that tried to run it on a tenner, wouldn't it? It'd be a brave man.
Do you know, Derek? Sorry, just when you mentioned there about the cost, Nigel, the pints and that, myself and the wife and the 2 boys went to watch United. Don't give me a hard time. It's the end of last season, and do you know that we paid £400 for 4 tickets?
£400
for 4 tickets to watch Man United getting beat at home by Wolves.
Wow.
And how many meetings can you get into Bellevue? Because that's your local club, isn't it, Bellevue? How many times could your family go to Bellevue for 400 quid?
Family ticket, Nigel, honestly.
I know we go on about each sport's different, everything's different, but we're trying to compare money now, aren't we? And, you know, people can't afford to go to Speedway. Even worse than that, the worst one I keep hearing is people don't know that Speedway is there. Yes, they do know that Speedway is there. The fact they don't go is for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But they know it's there. When Stoke had their last meeting before it shut down, the place was absolutely heaving. Never been as many people in there for years. Yeah. And I'll guarantee you, at Birmingham, in 2 or 3 weeks, a month, whenever Birmingham runs their last meeting, I guarantee you it will be absolutely rammed, packed to the rafters.
Yeah.
So why is it now every week?
Yeah.
You know, people know it's there. They do know it's there. I can only go on what it was like in Stoke. It was in the papers. It was on the radio. Whether you chose to read it and whether you choose to listen to it is another thing. But there was plenty out there. And I believe Glasgow do a really good job of promoting it up there. Billboards, one thing and another. Do the people come? I don't know. I haven't been to Glasgow. You know what the crowds are like. You up there? I don't know.
Well, I mean, just to answer the Glasgow thing, you know, Glasgow's obviously a huge sprawling city, right? So given the population of the Greater Glasgow area, you know, probably Glasgow Speedway, the crowds are nowhere near what they ought to be, right? If you got a very small, I don't know, 0.25% or something of the Greater Glasgow population, you would be rubbing your hands. But so I don't, you know, I've got some sympathy with what you've just said, Nigel, that there is an awareness there. It could always be better, of course. And
of course it can, but you know, Derek, I also think Glasgow, you've got Celtic and Rangers going on, haven't you? In Manchester, competing with the Speedway, United and City, and possibly the most successful Speedway club is Poole. And what have you got at Poole? Nothing, just a lot of holidaymakers going to Poole.
Yeah.
You know, so they will go to the Speedway, I believe, and that's possibly why Poole is successful, because there isn't a lot of other things for them to go spending the money on in Poole. Okay, you've got Bournemouth down the road, but, you know, Poole, it's on its own, the Speedway in Poole, isn't it? And that's successful. I don't know. You say about Glasgow, the population. Look at Birmingham. Can't keep a club in Birmingham.
That's true. Yeah.
And also, you know, I think the media, some people knock it so bad. They don't even go and they criticise the job. And they don't even go to see it and criticise it. Yeah, if you've paid your money and you're not happy with what you've seen, you're entitled to your say. But don't criticise it sat behind a computer.
Andy, do you like me agree that and we've talked about, you know, what a sensational meeting at Bellevue on Monday night, right? If you could bottle that or guarantee something of that epic entertainment value week on week at any track, then Speedway shouldn't have any problems. But do you agree, Andy, that, you know, Speedway's got a USP, a unique selling point, which is there's no other sport like it, right? You can't go to any other sport. Football, to me, football's football. Yes, there's different standards. Rugby's rugby. Yes, there's different standards. Speedway, in its current format, you know, you know, unless you're going to watch, with complete respect, an NDL meeting, and some of those riders ain't too bad. Thank you very much. The unique selling point of Speedway can't be matched. It can't be rivaled. So surely it can command a £20 admission, Andy.
Yeah, I don't think the actual pricing structure is too far out, to be fair. I do think that the sport needs to be, the sport needs to be part of something else as well. There needs to be more for the entertainment. There needs to be something else going on in the middle of the meeting, just to sort of, you know, liven it up a little bit as well. You know, I think there's a lot of gaps in between which people can get a little bit bored with. So if they could, you know, certainly I think Speedway being part of something else would help. Certainly would help the figures.
This is not a counter. I'm not saying this is the final answer or the complete answer, but but we've talked already about Poland, right? If Poland is the benchmark in terms of crowds and spectacle and all that good stuff, as far as I'm aware, and I've been to a few Polish league meetings, they don't have anything. There's not even a guy on centigrade in Poland.
But Derek, did you need anything, Andy? You was there, I wasn't, I don't know. Did you need anything on Monday night, Andy, anything else? Because like Derek's just said, in Poland, they get some super racing in Poland on these big tracks. And Bellevue on Monday night, you will never, ever get a better meeting wherever you go in the world than what you had on Monday night, will you? Surely not. And you didn't need anything else on Monday night, did you? Because the entertainment was there in front of you.
Do you know something, Nigel?
Yeah,
Sorry, Andy, to touch on the Polish thing, though, you know, there is nothing in between the meetings, but the Polish fans, I think, are a different entity to the British fans. You know, the Polish riders, Nigel, can't walk down the street without getting people stopping them and asking for autographs. Every street corner there's a Speedway shop. You know, the Speedway programmes, they've got 4 or 5 different channels. So you think about that environment, and every day you're getting Speedway here, Speedway there. We don't have that in this country. Whereas the Polish have got it everywhere. Honestly, I mean, they've got clouds that have got pictures of Speedway bikes. Honestly, that's how far into it they are.
It's profile, Stuart. It's profile.
Yeah.
That's the key
100%.
word for me. Profile. Yeah. Listen,
I think when you've got as well that many people in the stadium, it means then that, you know, they provide a lot of the entertainment in between the races themselves.
Yeah.
And when you haven't got them people in there, that's when the problems start, I think. So that's why I think if you did have something else to be part of the entertainment, part of something else, and get more people in, then, you know, Speedway would have a better chance on its own then, I think, anyway.
100%, Andy. Listen, thanks for the chat, guys. So listen, we've not, as ever on 360 Speedway, we haven't resolved anything. We haven't reached any final conclusions, but a bit of a chat, a bit of a round the houses on the price point of British Speedway currently. What's your views out there? You the guys and the girls who turn up week on week, or who are asked to turn up week on week. You know, did you think the British Speedway is appropriately priced? And offers good value for money? Have you taken on board? Do you agree or disagree with some of the points that we've aired in this particular discussion? Please don't be shy at coming forward. Please drop us a note on any social media post, or I'll call out the WhatsApp number again, 0333 772 4046. It would be really, really pleasing to hear from you. Right, some more of your messages. Once again, thank you very much for taking time and trouble to get in touch. First up, this segment, Lucy B from Northumberland has been in touch via email. Unsure about introducing Nick at this stage of the season. Oxford have effectively ended our season. Another promising campaign ends in disappointment, sadly. Lucy B, I'm deducing that you might be a Berwick Bandits-minded Speedway fan, and you're referring to the introduction of Nick Morris at this stage of the season. 2 years out of the sport, 2 years out of the saddle, certainly competitively. And you know, in any season, that would always be a challenge. You know, Nick's talent is obviously undoubted, but he will be chasing. He will be chasing race fitness, race sharpness, all those good things. Quite sad. It looks like, you know, Craig Cook's season is over at this stage, and you know, given the rider that and the achievements that Craig is and has achieved in his Speedway career. You know, hopefully that's not the end of Craig Cook as a Speedway rider in this country. But listen, Berwick have made the changes. Nick's also been introduced, of course, to the Sheffield team as well. And but to your point, you know, Bandits have slipped up in recent weeks to Glasgow and Oxford. They haven't yet done too much on the road, I think I'm correct in saying. And maybe, just maybe, it's going to be a stretch for the Bandits to make the top four. But Lucy, keep the faith. Ingrid D from Wilmslow has been in touch via WhatsApp. Ingrid, thank you. Ingrid says, has Simon Stead inflicted a big blow to our prospects? Can't see at all how Nick and Jai will be such an improvement on Louis and Justin. Let's hope I'm well wrong. Reference to Sheffield ringing the changes just ahead of the transfer window ahead of the playoffs. To your point, Ingrid, Louis Kerr, Justin Sedgman have both been dropped in favour of Nick Morris and Jai Etheridge. So, you know, we've just read out a message about a Berwick fan's views on the risk associated to introducing Nick at this stage of the season. And I imagine, Ingrid, that you have similar concerns. It could be a masterstroke. But by Damien and Simon, it could be an absolute masterstroke and serve the Sheffield side well. But we'll certainly watch and see how Nick and Jai settle into the rigours of Premiership Speedway. Ricky G from Brunstone has been in touch via WhatsApp. Get in there, Leicester Lions, Knockout Cup champions, and deservedly so. We now need to rally ourselves for the playoffs. No reason why we can't go one better than 2024. And that's a similar message earlier from a fellow Lions supporter, Ricky. Yeah, congratulations again to the Lions. They've landed some big silverware, quite rightly proud of a Knockout Cup success, and stealing yourselves, I think, Ricky, for the playoffs. Shell M has been in touch from Redcar via email. Shell says, losing at home to Glasgow is a real blow. Once again, the Bears are under pressure to make the top four. Still believe in the team and that we'll make amends. And do you know what, Shell? I kind of echo your thinking, because so many times in recent seasons, Redcar have pieced together and tracked a really, really standout, exciting, very capable looking team, as they did this season, and for reasons that I can't put my finger on. You'll obviously watch them week in, week out, and have a better sense of this. But for whatever reason, they just don't quite fire in the way that the team probably ought to be capable of. And Redcar doesn't offer an awful lot of home advantage. They might be susceptible a little bit. That's proven to be the case. Glasgow managed to do the job on them last Friday night. But still a few meetings in hand. It's going to be a tasty August as the Bears and other clubs battle to try and work their way into that top four, and they might just yet do that. And finally, from this week, a rather sombre note to finish on. Brummy Bob from West Drayton has been in touch via WhatsApp. Hi, Brummy Bob. Us Brummy fans have had a miserable few seasons, and without anything to really look forward to, we don't want the season to end. Give us a B. Give us a B for Brummies. Brummy Bob, we on 360 Speedway, and I'm sure the majority of Speedway fans do feel for you. You have had a miserable time. There doesn't seem to be any let up at all. No solace, no consolation, week on week, or very little, in fact. And I'm sure that everyone involved in the club will want to finish 2025, given the significance of it, in as positive a way as they possibly can. And I know the riders will be very much minded to try and deliver that to you. So hang in there, Brummy Bob, and hopefully beyond 2025, much better and brighter times ahead for you Brummy fans. Listen, that wraps up all of the featured messages on this week's episode. Thanks again to those of you who took time to get in touch. If you haven't done so, please do so. And I'm going to call out again the dedicated WhatsApp number, which is 0333 772 40 46. Send us a text form message, or hold down that record button and just talk into the microphone, and send us a voice note. Thank you very much.